Pope Francis made a whirlwind visit to the revered Catholic shrine of Fatima in Portugal,
where Virgin Mary appeared to 3 shepherd children in 1917. They said she gave them 3 messages.
And a third secret more recently revealed to be the assassination attempt on Pope John Paul II, which happened on May 13, 1981.
One day in 1917 has haunted Catholic priests and many other religious believers for decades. On May 13, 1917, the Virgin Mary told 3 shepherd children 3 secrets. Secrets that would later turn out to be some of the most terrifying predictions of war and death in the Church. The most worrisome of these secrets was the Third Secret of Fatima, which has remained hidden for decades, but Pope Francis has recently revealed the truth about this secret and its relevance to our world today. What did he reveal, and why does he suspect the secret might once again manifest as a prediction sooner than we think?
Does Mary's vision of hell harmonize with what the Bible teaches?
Keep watching because you're about to find out what happened that fateful day in 1917. The world's concern with the Third Secret of Fatima, including Pope Francis's recent revelation, dates back to the fateful day the secret was first told by the Virgin Mary herself. On May 13, 1917, in a place called Cova da Iria, near the village of Fatima in Portugal, 3 young shepherd children named Lucia, Jacinta, and Francisco were looking after their flock of sheep. It was around noon when they finished their usual practice of reciting the rosary and decided to play by building small stone structures. The children, aged 10, 9, and 8 respectively, were enjoying their playtime when an extraordinary event occurred. Suddenly, a blinding light flashed before them, startling the children. At first, they thought it was lightning and prepared to leave to avoid a storm. But another flash of light appeared in a clearing before them. This time, they saw a beautiful young lady standing just above a small holm oak tree. The lady, who was brighter than the sun, held a white rosary in her hands and began speaking to them. This was the first of several supernatural apparitions that would come to be known as the apparitions of Our Lady of Fatima, and you're about to see why. Throughout these apparitions, the children received several messages and visions, which would later be called the Secrets of Fatima. Then around noontime on July 13, 1917, the lady finally clearly revealed 3 secrets to the children. These secrets were kept strictly confidential for many years. It wasn't until July 1941 that Sister Lucia, one of the 3 children who had become a nun, was instructed by the bishop to reveal the first 2 secrets. These secrets included visions of hell and prophecies concerning the future of the world. The third secret, however, remained undisclosed for much longer. Sister Lucia eventually revealed it later in her life, and its contents led to much debate and speculation. The revelation of this third secret sparked numerous controversies and interpretations among the faithful, scholars, and believers worldwide. In recent times, the Pope has offered significant insights into the meaning and implications of these secrets. His revelations aim to provide guidance and clarity on the messages of Fatima and their relevance for contemporary times. Before we get into the Pope's interpretations and teachings, who is Lady Fatima, and what really happened that fateful day? In some Muslim traditions, the Virgin Mary is sometimes referred to as Lady Fatima, though it's important to note that this is not universally accepted or practiced in all Islamic communities. This connection stems from the reverence for Mary as the mother of Jesus in both Christianity and Islam, and the name Fatima, which is also the name of the daughter of the Prophet Muhammad. In Islamic tradition, Maryam, called Mary in Christianity, has a special status as one of the most revered women in history. She is celebrated for her purity, piety, and devotion to God. The Quran, the holy book of Islam, dedicates an entire chapter to Maryam, detailing her miraculous birth and the conception of her son Isa, called Jesus in Christianity, without a human father. Maryam's story in the Quran shares similarities with the biblical story, including her upbringing in the temple and the Annunciation by the angel Gabriel, but there are also some particular differences in how certain events are shown. The association of Mary with Fatima may be from the respect both figures command in their respective religious traditions. Fatima, the daughter of the Prophet Muhammad, is highly revered in Islam for her virtues and her role as a symbol of purity and righteousness. Some Muslims see similarities between Mary and Fatima, especially their shared qualities of faith, devotion, and spiritual significance. Both are seen as exemplary women who embody the ideal of submission to the will of God. While the connection between Mary and Fatima is not universally recognized in Islam, unlike Christianity, they are both still respected and admired as holy women. The story of the secrets of Fatima begins with the miraculous appearances experienced by 3 humble shepherd children in 1917. These events not only impacted their lives, but also had a lasting influence on the Catholic Church and the world. The young shepherds, who were from the village of Al-Justral near Fatima, became key figures in one of the most famous Marian apparitions in history. Their encounters with the Radiant Lady happened while they were performing their daily duties of tending sheep. The meetings continued over several months, during which the lady, identified as the Virgin Mary, entrusted them with important messages. These messages included warnings, calls for repentance, and promises of peace if her requests were heeded. The children's experiences were unusual, so as you'd expect, many people did not believe them. Still, the children kept telling their story, and over time, didn't people around the world believe and respect the apparitions? But what was the main thing she told them? The lady asked the children to meet her at the Kova Dairia on the 13th day of the month for 5 months. They went for the first 3 months, but it was at this point that when they started telling others about the lady, people thought they were lying. The mayor even took them away to try and make them admit they were lying. But during one unexpected event, while they were tending their flock in a different village called Valenhos, about 500 meters from their own, they had another encounter with the lady on August 19th. Interestingly, the earliest known encounter with the Virgin Mary wasn't exactly an apparition, but more like a bilocation where she appeared while still alive. Despite doubts, the children returned to the Kova Dairia in September and October. By their last visit, news of the apparitions had spread, and around 70,000 people were present. During this final encounter, the lady identified herself as Our Lady of the Rosary and asked the children to build a chapel in her honor on that spot. This chapel, named the Chapel of the Apparition, still stands there today. But did all this happen just because the children said so? Not really. Most people didn't even believe them back then. Only about 30,000 people gathered for the apparition, as the children claimed. This made the Blessed Lady promise them a miracle the next month to make the doubters believe, and truly, a miraculous event happened. After a rainy day, the sun emerged behind the clouds, shining brightly with beautiful colors that were safe to look at. Then, the sun appeared to spin like a fiery ball for about 10 minutes. Thousands of people witnessed this incredible event, known as the Miracle of the Sun. There was even a man who was afraid that if the miracle didn't happen, his whole family would die. So he stayed home out of fear. Because he was afraid of dying, he missed witnessing the miracle of the sun. These experiences finally led to the widespread acceptance of the 3 secrets of Fatima that the lady shared with the children. It makes one wonder what these secrets were. Let's reveal them, staying with the first secret. After the secrets of Fatima were given to the 3 children, only one of them, Sister Lucia, was able to share what the lady told them because something tragic happened in Fatima after the apparition. Her cousins, Francisco and Jacinta, died a year apart due to a flu outbreak in Fatima. Francisco, even though he was very ill, dedicated his life to making sacrifices to console the Lord. He died in 1919 and was first buried in the parish cemetery. Jacinta, who also suffered greatly, spent her time praying for peace in the world, for the unsaved, and for the Holy Father. She died in 1920 and was initially buried in her family's tomb before being moved to the parish cemetery. By 1930, the Catholic Church declared that the miracle of the sun was worthy of belief. In 1952, a special tomb was prepared for Francisco and Jacinta in the Basilica at Kova Dairia, where they were buried on either side of the main altar. They were beatified in 1979 and declared venerable by Pope John Paul II on May 13, 1989. Sister Lucia survived the flu and in 1921 joined a college and was sent to Tui. She made her confession as a nun on October 3, 1934. 7 years later, she wrote in her memoir about the secret of Fatima that she and her cousins received over 2 decades earlier. This memoir revealed in-depth details of the secrets that had been given to them by the lady during the apparitions. The first secret revealed by the lady was a vision that was both horrifying and terrifyingly detailed. She showed the children a large sea of fire, basically hell, which seemed to exist beneath the surface of the earth. In this burning hot fire, they could see countless souls and demons engulfed in the flames. The souls were like transparent burning embers caught in the hot waves. They floated and rose with the flames, only to fall back down without any weight, all the while screaming and groaning in a lot of pain. The souls retained human forms, but the demons appeared as terrifying, unknown creatures. These demonic beings were black, yet transparent, adding to their unsettling and frightful appearance. Sister Lucia described this vision as utterly terrifying, a scene of suffering and horror that left a traumatic impression on the children. After this scary vision, the lady conveyed a message of hope and redemption. She told the children that there was a way to save many souls from this dreadful fate and to stop wars, ensuring peace. The key, she said, was for people to stop offending God. She warned that if people did not change their ways, something even worse would happen. The lady's message had a sense of urgency and a call to action, emphasizing the need for repentance and change. This message turned out to be important, as fulfilling her request coincided with the end of World War I, which was raging at the time the lady shared this secret. It didn't end there. The second and third secrets. The lady then shared the second secret with the children. She urged them to devote themselves to her Immaculate Heart, a plea that filled the children with great joy. The promise that her heart would be their refuge and lead them to God gave them comfort and happiness. They often expressed their joy by singing while picking wildflowers, invoking Sweet Mary as their salvation. They prayed for the conversion of sinners and the salvation of souls from hell, embracing the lady's message with heartfelt devotion. The lady also asked a pressing question to the children. Did they wish to offer themselves to God, to endure all the suffering He might send them, to help atone for the sins that offended Him, and to ask for the conversion of sinners? This question was a call to personal sacrifice and devotion. She explained that God intended to establish a worldwide devotion to her Immaculate Heart. She assured the children that she would always be with them, to comfort them and guide them to God through her heart. Her promise was one of enduring support and triumph, as she guaranteed that her Immaculate Heart would ultimately triumph, leading them on the path to heaven. These experiences and messages filled the children with a feeling of purpose and joy as they embraced the lady's teachings. Their devotion to her Immaculate Heart became a source of strength and guidance, helping them overcome the challenges and sacrifices they faced. The lady's assurances of her constant presence and the ultimate triumph of her Immaculate Heart provided them with hope and direction, reinforcing their faith and commitment to her messages. The children's eager response to these secrets and the lady's guidance showed their unwavering faith in her and God. Their willingness to embrace suffering and their dedication to prayer and repentance proved their commitment to the lady's call. Now that's not even half of it. The lady shared with the children that an even worse war would break out during the time of Pope Pius XI. She gave them a sign to recognize this event. They would see an unknown light illuminating the night sky. This light would be a signal that God was about to punish the world with wars, famine, and persecution due to its many sins. The lady explained that the only way to prevent these terrible events was to consecrate Russia to her Immaculate Heart and perform acts of reparation on the first Saturdays. She promised that if her requests were followed, peace would be restored and Russia would be converted. But if these actions were not taken, the world would face wars, persecution of the Church, and martyrdoms. She assured that if the Holy Father consecrated Russia, the world would enjoy a period of peace. Now that we understand the first two secrets, let's now talk about the worst of all, the last one, the third secret of Fatima. When Sister Lucia shared this secret, she wrote it down and sealed it in an envelope. Although her bishop urged her to reveal it, she felt it was not the right time. She believed the secret needed to be understood in a specific context that would become clear much later. After about 19 years in 1960, the sealed letter was opened, but its contents were not revealed until 2000. In her vision, Lucia saw an angel with a flaming sword. The flames from the sword seemed as though they would set the world on fire. The angel stood to the left of the lady and held the sword in his left hand. The fury of the flames was extinguished by the radiance emanating from the lady's right hand. Throughout this vision, the angel continuously called for penance. Then, a very bright light appeared before them. This vision, filled with urgency, conveyed a powerful message about the need for repentance and divine intervention. The children were deeply moved by these visions and messages, which carried deep spiritual and moral implications for the world. The secrets of Fatima, especially the third one, have been the subject of much discussion and interpretation. They emphasize the importance of prayer, penance, and devotion to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. The children's revelations at Fatima have had a lasting impact on the Catholic Church and its followers. The messages continue to inspire devotion and reflection, urging believers to live lives of faith, sacrifice, and commitment to divine will. The visions and secrets of Fatima remind us of the spiritual battles and the promise of peace through adherence to God's commands and devotion to Mary's Immaculate Heart. Lucia saw a vision of someone who appeared to be a bishop dressed in white, covered by a very bright light. This image was like how people look when they pass in front of a mirror. Based on their knowledge, the children believed this person to be the Holy Father. Next, Lucia and the other children saw various religious figures, including bishops, priests, and nuns climbing a steep mountain. At the top of this mountain was a large cross made from the trunks of a cork tree. The Holy Father walked with difficulty and sadness on his face through a big city that was half destroyed. Trembling, he prayed for the dead bodies he saw on his way up the mountain. When the Holy Father reached the cross, a group of soldiers fired bullets and arrows at him, causing his death. Similarly, all the other religious figures were killed at the foot of the cross. Two angels stood beneath the arms of the cross, holding a crystal container. They collected the blood of the martyrs in it, sprinkling their souls as they ascended to God. On May 13, 1981, exactly 64 years after the first apparition of Mary at Fatima, there was an assassination attempt on Pope John Paul II. The assailant, Ali Agca, fired 4 bullets at the Pope. This attack led to a long, intense surgery to save the Pope's life. The vision shared by Lucia literally showed a scene of horrible suffering and martyrdom. The imagery of the bishop in white, the steep climb, and the brutal killings at the foot of the cross symbolized the trials and sacrifices faced by the Church. The angels collecting the martyrs' blood represented the sanctity and ultimate reward of their sacrifices. This vision has been interpreted as foretelling the biggest trials for the Church and its leaders. The assassination attempt on Pope John Paul II is often seen as a partial fulfillment of this vision. The Pope's survival and the subsequent events also represent the ongoing spiritual battles and the need for faith and perseverance. As the Pope began to recover from the assassination attempt, he spoke from his hospital bed, expressing that he had forgiven the man who shot him. It took 2 months for the Pope to recover enough to return home. There was speculation about whether this event could be the fulfillment of the Third Secret of Fatima. The Pope himself believed that his survival was due to the intervention of the Virgin Mary. To show his gratitude, he visited the shrine of Fatima in Portugal the following year. During this visit, he presented the bullet that nearly killed him, and it was later included in the crown of the statue of the Queen of Fatima, fitting perfectly into a space among the 8 stems that made up the crown. Some people believe that these events were the fulfillment of the Third Secret of Fatima. In the year 2000, the Vatican announced that everything related to the Third Secret had indeed been fulfilled. But this was not the end of the story. Later, when Pope Benedict XVI was still Cardinal Ratzinger, he provided further insight into the Third Secret. He clarified that there was no hidden mystery left to reveal, nor was there a prediction of an unchangeable future. Although this might have been disappointing compared to the dramatic details of the revelation, he emphasized that the vision's purpose was not to depict a future that couldn't be changed, but to inspire positive change. Cardinal Ratzinger also debunked the idea that the assassination attempt was part of a divine plan. He clarified that the person who tried to kill the Pope did not act under divine influence, countering the belief that everything was preordained and humans had no choice in their actions. He concluded that the vision was meant to tell about the various dangers and how humanity could be saved from them. But this interpretation shifted the focus from deadly predictions to the importance of human actions in influencing what happens in the future. The many other terrifying Marian apparitions. The Secrets of Fatima and the apparitions of Mary and Fatima are among many approved Marian apparitions recognized by the Catholic Church. While some may doubt their authenticity, The Church follows a rigorous process to evaluate each claim. A Marian apparition is first examined by the bishop of the diocese where it occurred. The bishop assesses the character and credibility of the person claiming the apparition. If needed, the Vatican may conduct further evaluations to ensure the authenticity of the event. One of the most famous Marian apparitions is Our Lady of Guadalupe, who appeared in 1531 in St. Juan Diego. She asked him to have a church built in her honor. When Juan Diego was not believed, she arranged flowers in his cloak. On his fourth encounter, he opened his cloak, and the flowers fell, revealing an image of Our Lady imprinted on the fabric. Today, a basilica in Mexico City stands in her honor, and the image remains visible. In another shocking event, St. Bernadette of Lourdes, a young girl, experienced Marian apparitions 18 times in a small French town. During these apparitions, Mary asked people to pray and turn back to God. Bernadette also discovered a spring with healing properties, which became a site of pilgrimage. In 1879, in the town of Knock, Ireland, Mary appeared to St. Joseph and St. John as they prayed in the rain. This silent apparition conveyed a message of peace and comfort. Unlike other apparitions with verbal messages, this one was a terrifying nonverbal sign of Mary's presence and care. Another series of apparitions happened in Kibeho, Rwanda, between 1981 and 1989. Mary appeared to 3 children, asking them to pray the rosary 3 times daily. These apparitions, spread over 8 years, carried a message of devotion and prayer. That's not all. Mary also warned the seers of a coming tragedy. Many people believe that this prophecy was fulfilled during the 1994 genocide in Rwanda, but Mary made it clear that her message was intended for the entire world, not just for Africa or Rwanda. In 1859, in the United States, Adele Breeze experienced a Marian apparition. Mary told her to pray for the conversion of sinners and to teach nearby children about the Catholic faith. This apparition emphasized the importance of prayer and religious education. Another significant apparition occurred in 1973, exactly 56 years after Mary's appearance to the Little Shepherds of Fatima. Sister Agnes Sasagawa in Akita, Japan, received a message from Mary calling the world to repentance and to pray the rosary. This message reinforced the themes of penance and prayer. The apparitions in Fatima are very important. Mary's messages have been the subject of much reflection and devotion. A key aspect of these messages is the Third Secret of Fatima. Pope Francis has talked about the Third Secret of Fatima, which foretells wars and martyrdoms. He has spoken about these issues in various contexts. For example, after the attack on Paris in November 2015, he mentioned that World War III had begun in pieces. Again, in January 2023, he urged an end to conflicts that seemed to be leading towards another world war. Pope Francis's comments align with the vision described in the Third Secret of Fatima. The vision is seen as a warning and a call to action, urging people to work towards peace and avoid further conflict. Cardinal Ratzinger, later Pope Benedict XVI, explained that the vision is not meant to predict an unchangeable future, but to motivate efforts to prevent the prophesied disasters. The prophecy does not single out any specific pope, such as Pope Francis, as central to its fulfillment. Instead, it mentions the ongoing role of the papacy in promoting change and addressing issues as the world progresses towards its end times. The vision shows angels crying for penance beneath the cross, symbolizing the need for repentance. The prophecy's call for penance is increasingly relevant today as the number of Christian martyrdoms continues to rise. This trend indicates that there is an ongoing conflict in the world, which, while different from the large-scale conflicts of the First and Second World Wars, still causes significant suffering. For Catholics, it's no news that Pope Francis has frequently spoken about these modern conflicts. He has noted that the current global wars are happening even though they're happening slowly. In various speeches, he has emphasized the urgent need to end the wars in places like Syria and Ukraine. Pope Francis has also stressed that these wars cause immense harm, particularly to vulnerable groups such as young children and the elderly. He stresses that stopping these conflicts is crucial to creating a world where people can live safely and happily. Pope Francis has emphasized the importance of implementing reforms to help those affected by war regain happiness and stability in their lives. With the third secret now revealed, it urges us to think about how other instructions from Mary have also been fulfilled. After the initial series of visions experienced by the children, Lucia received another apparition from Mary in 1929. During this appearance, Mary reiterated her request for the consecration of Russia to her Immaculate Heart. This renewed call led to ongoing prayers for Mary's intercession for Russia's conversion. In 1942, amid the turmoil of World War II, Pope XII carried out this consecration. This practice has been upheld by successive popes, including Pope John Paul II and Pope Francis, who have continued to seek Mary's guidance and intercession. It gets deeper than that. The need to pray the rosary for Russia arose during the rise of the Communist Party, which openly denied the existence of God. This was also a time when Joseph Stalin ruled, leading to the imprisonment and execution of millions, including many Christians. The consecration of Russia to Mary's Immaculate Heart was seen as important for world peace, especially with the looming threat posed by Russia's nuclear weapons. This act was believed to be crucial in preventing widespread destruction. When Archbishop Tadeusz Kondrusiewicz from Moscow visited Sister Lucia, she asked if he was able to practice his role openly in the city. When he confirmed that he could, Sister Lucia declared that this indicated the prophecy of Fatima had been fulfilled. The Archbishop also noted that statues of Our Lady of Fatima were present in every church across his country. This widespread veneration signified the fulfillment of Mary's prophecy. With the prophecy concerning Russia fulfilled, questions arise about the Third Secret of Fatima. Considering the Pope's insights on the Third Secret, it's essential to ponder how St. Lucia's revelations relate to our current world. The Pope's emphasis on addressing global conflicts reflects the continuing relevance of the Third Secret. At the end of it all, the takeaway is that St. Lucia's revelations remind us of the importance of prayer, repentance, and the need for global peace. Her messages, now viewed with contemporary events in mind, continue to guide us toward spiritual reflection and action. Do you think all the secrets have an even deeper meaning than what they've been decoded to mean so far? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to hit the like button, share it with your family and friends, and subscribe to our channel to keep up with our next uploads.